The channel now has 500 subscribers, so you know what that means. Time for the first personal survival world tour. The seed I used was featured in a video made by IBX Toycat, which I've linked in the description. So spawn is underwater, where I haven't done much of anything other than get rid of a bunch of gravel, as you can see by the just random pits of nothing. Where I have done substantially more is the nearby village, which you'll see as soon as I can get to a better vantage point. That's a bit more like it. On the eastern side of the village, there is a library. Inside, there are bookshelves, some chandeliers, a computer area, a cozy fireplace area, a spiral staircase to reach the upper level where there are yet more bookshelves, as well as this room in the back which just has more books, as well as the ladder that goes up to the attic, where I haven't really put anything. I guess I should add some cobwebs. I really don't know what to put up here. Back on the main floor, this door in the back leads to the room where all of the librarians are. On the opposite end of the village, there is a large factory building, and the reason it is so tall is because this is where I farm nether fungi. In theory, I could have made an automatic nether farm, but at the same time, I can't be bothered with trying to figure out the redstone. And also, I do find the process of dismantling nether fungi to sometimes be a little fun. If we ascend this ladder, which takes a minute, we reach this railing that I've installed up here to make it a bit easier to drop on top of the nether fungi. Obviously that works better if you have feather falling boots. And if we continue up the ladder even more, we get onto the roof of the factory, where we can get a pretty decent vantage point of the village, but it's still not finished, because I need to put something in that area, but I don't know what. In addition to providing a view of the village, this roof also has access to the lighthouse on top of the hill. However, we're not quite done with looking at everything at the bottom of the hill, so we're just going to drop down into this water pit. And this water pit is in the back of the original trading hall that I set up, because originally I just started out with these Fletchers because, you know, sticks are one of the easiest things you can get to trade with. Not to mention the gravel that I obliterated from spawn and other places. But then the next set of villagers I had to trade with were farmers, and that takes us to the next structure in the village, which is the greenhouse. And while I do have other farms in this world, I made this greenhouse because I was spending a lot of time here in the village, and I figured, hey, since I have these chunks loaded, I might as well make sure that there's crops growing. That way it makes it so that I can actually trade with the farmers a little more frequently, and get more emeralds. And if we go back inside the trading hall past the farmers and the Fletchers, and we make a left, we will go down these spiral stairs into this area with other villagers, including this stonemason right here, who supplied the vast majority of the orange terracotta used to remodel most of the village. Of course, continuing on, we have yet more villagers, including the armorer, the weaponsmith, the toolsmith, so that we could get all of our diamond gear, some empty slots where I haven't figured out what kind of villagers I want to put there yet, and then under this lava light fixture in the ceiling, there is the stairwell into the abyss, and down at the bottom of the abyss is where I have my diamond mine, and I could jump down there because there's a water block all the way at the bottom, but then I'm gonna have to walk all the way back up these stairs. And it's not like it takes a lot of time, but this is the second time that I'm now recording this segment, and I really don't feel like doing it again. Okay, now returning back up these spiral stairs, and now we just go straight to these other spiral stairs. This will take us to my little home away from home. Because, you know, I need a bed, but I also don't want to be super close to the villagers because I don't want them to get attached to it. And I have a bunch of these shelves here, that way I can just place my shulker boxes down and it's somewhat organized, as opposed to, you know, just setting a whole bunch of chests down. And there is one other feature, so we still don't have, like, crawling with trapdoors in Bedrock yet, but you can swim into 1-block high spaces, and so I've made this little, like, crawl space behind my home away from home. It serves no functional purpose. It's just that, you know, as a kid I watched a lot of, like, spy movies, so I felt like I could put a secret passageway in. It doesn't really do anything. It doesn't help me, especially since this is a single-player world, but I just felt like I needed it. The only other structure I haven't talked about that I did modify is this well. This is the original location of the village well. I even kept the bell. I could ring it, but that would cause the villagers distress. So, if you could instead ring the bell as you're watching this video, that would be much appreciated. Anywho, the change that I enjoy the most about this well is not only is there water, but there's also lava. Number one, because I like lighting things up with lava, and number two, it kind of makes sense to me that this is how we keep the water in this village liquid, considering, you know, there's snow and ice everywhere. You can't exactly drink frozen water, so it makes sense that the villagers have some source of liquid water. Ah, there's a cow on top of the roof, so that's what that weird little shadow in the passageway was from. Cool. So that pretty much covers everything that's been made in the village, so we can return to the lighthouse using this water elevator to go all the way to the top. It's just, it'll take us a minute or two till we get there. And the top of this lighthouse also gives us a pretty good view of the surrounding area. In theory, I could turn my render distance up, but my laptop does not like that very much. Off in the distance, there is like another village that I use to help get all of the villagers that I have in the trading hall, but I'm not gonna bother showing that to you because it's literally just a village with a whole bunch of extra beds. Now, right above my cursor, you may be able to see what appears to be another building, and that is the next place we're going to head because that is where I decided to set up home. Because when I started this world, I didn't really want to live in the village, because then you have to deal with the villagers walking around, using your doors, and it's just, I just don't like it. So I looked for a good place to settle down, and there was this meadow. Ignore all of the various trees that shouldn't be here. I forgot to cut them down. I saw them the first time I recorded this tour, and then I still didn't take them down. Let me sleep real quick, because it's about to get dark. Alright, there we go. Actually, this is the best place to start anyway, because this is the front of the house. So out front I have my starting farms with potatoes, because baked potatoes are pretty much the best way to get bone meal when you start out. And a wheat, because I had all of the mud bricks that I wanted to make for this build. And of course this is also where I have the bees, just because I think the bees are technically supposed to make the crops grow faster. I don't know if it actually works considering how open this area is, but it's just nice to have them, especially because, you know, 1. Whatever it was introduced the candles that could be made from honeycomb, and they look nice. I haven't used too many candles, but it's the principle of the matter. I'd like to know that I have the materials to make candles if I wanted to make them. But anyway, this is the only personal world I have other than Journey to the End where I have access to the end dimension. So I really wanted to try building something with endstone, and I'm pretty happy with how it looks. Off to the side here, on the left, we have a bunch of stables. We have cows, we have some foxes that I picked up from the taiga over there by the village. We have some donkeys that spawned in this meadow. We have a dog I again got from the taiga area. And I don't have anything in this fourth one. I don't know if I had something in mind to put in here. It might have originally been sheep now that I think about it, but the sheep are now in another location, which you'll see shortly enough. So if we go ahead and we head inside the house, You'll see here to the left I have more shelving because, like I kind of hinted at earlier, I know from personal experience that I have a habit of just putting chests on the ground, putting shulker boxes on the ground, and then it ends up being very messy. But you know, if I can make these like little shelves and I just put my stuff there, then it looks a bit more intentional and not just like I'm a lazy person who can't be bothered to put stuff back where it belongs. And besides, it's also nice to have this chest I can just grab my fishing rod and throw everything else into whenever it starts raining. I have this dining room table, which if you've watched some of my other videos, you may or may not recognize. I have a somewhat functional kitchen area. I think I used these smokers before I installed the smelting arrays downstairs. Ditto for these furnaces in the floor. A repurposed brewing stand from the end. A literal icebox. There's probably a better way I could have made that joke, but you know what? It's what we have. And then I have more like food-related items in these kitchen cabinets, because it makes sense to me that I have things like cake and mushrooms and bread and dried kelp in the kitchen area, because those are all edible things. So otherwise they're just going to end up in a chest somewhere, lost forever. There is also a bathroom, which I don't know that it has a functional use. I don't know why I have it here other than just so that this feels like a house and not just a building in Minecraft. Not that there's anything wrong with just having a building in Minecraft, but you know. More shelves, but these aren't really for storage. I need to fill these with flowers of some sort. I don't know why I haven't, but oh well. Back door to the backyard. If that mangrove tree and that dark oak tree weren't there, you'd see a better view of the meadow. But it's not like it's awful. Fortunately, the green in the meadow is pretty nice to look at. And returning inside past the kitchen, this door, it just leads back to the stables, which we saw earlier. And then past that is a doorway with a spiral staircase, which we can go up or down. And first we'll go down and look at the basement, which I've used a dripstone, because I like dripstone as a flooring block. And of course, obviously, I needed areas to farm dripstone, hence why there's just all of that. Smelting arrays, using various furnaces. And then of course, you know, we finally, with the addition of dripstone, we got renewable lava, so of course I had to set up some lava farm. And speaking of lava, we can head over to the Nether real quick and I'll show you what I've got there before I show you the rest of the basement. And when you exit the portal on the other side, you may be surprised to find that the floor is lava, but of course there's a nice protective layer of orange glass on top, so you don't need to worry about instantly burning your feet. You can also see that I smelted up some of the orange terracotta to decorate the walls of the Nether hub. I do think it's kind of funny that I decided to light things up with lava, which is very, you know, has a tendency to light things on fire, and I decided to use wool, which, has a tendency to be very easily lit on fire. But it's fine, because there's quartz protecting it, which is, not flammable, as far as I know. Going around the, outside of the Nether hub, there are some, like, pathways I made out of, nether brick that go, I think I did it either 100 or 200 blocks in each direction, just so that, you know, if I want to start making pathways to areas, it's a bit easier. I'm not 100% sold on it all just being plain old nether brick, but, like, I had a bunch of nether brick from trying to netherite mine, and so it was just a material I had in abundance, and I just kind of wanted to put something there. I'll probably have to make it look a little more interesting at some point, but it does the job for now. On the other side of the Nether portal, if we hadn't walked into the lava floor room, we would have seen the stairwell which leads down. And I've got lava troughs, not just to, like, light everything up, but also because as you're netherite mining, you end up encountering more lava pockets than you can use to smelt things. Or at least I did. So I just added it in, again, for storage, so that, you know, when I when I finally do have like a bunch of things to smelt, I don't have to go hunting for lava because it's just there. This is the bottom of the lava floor. I don't know what to do with this area. I don't know if there's anything to do with this area. I think I did place some like mushrooms to see if they would spread, but I haven't figured out anything super useful with this area. Actually, maybe I could turn this, if I bring a jukebox, this would make like a good dance floor. I probably have to replace some of this blackstone with something that looks a bit more interesting, but you know what, I'm gonna actually jot that down for future me. I have this list of things, because like, yeah, I could keep a notebook in real life with what I want to do, but I have a tendency to lose things, and if it's in the game, there's less chance that I'm gonna lose it. Yeah, I'll know what that means, probably. Worst case scenario, someone has to remind me that I made this video, and it'll be fine. Anywho, there's this stairwell, which technically I can glide down. It hasn't killed me so far when I've done it. It just kind of hurts when I collide with the ceiling, but walk past the lava lights, and this is where my netherite mine is, because all these doorways, they go off, I don't know, probably like 100, 200 blocks in each direction? I don't remember. So anyway, this is like the hub for where I go to netherite mine. I probably need to change how it's decorated at some point as well, because again, I use the nether brick because I had a bunch of it, and I use the polished basalt because I like it, but now that I've been away from this for like a couple months, I'm starting to think maybe I shouldn't have used only polished basalt. Of course, it probably doesn't help that in this room there's now only like this double chest and this crafting table. But you know what? Again, that's something that when I have better ideas I can figure that out later. Because I do like the way I did the walls here, so maybe that's what I need to do, is maybe I need to incorporate some magma in the walls down there. I don't know. But, I mean, there is a second layer that we can go upstairs. We can either go up the stairs here, or there's another set of stairs we can go up, which is over this way, because I have yet more lava troughs. Because again, I kept running into lava pockets when trying to netherite mine. And this takes us up to the second level of the nether hub, which unfortunately, because of how low the ceiling is here, doesn't really give us that much of a vantage point, but you know, it's the idea that at least I can be up on top of it. I understand why people who play in the other difficulty levels don't enjoy the basalt deltas, but you know, when you don't have to deal with hostile mobs, the atmosphere provided by all these particles is kind of nice. Anywho, time to return back to the overworld. So, if we take this doorway, we will see my wool farm, and this is why I don't have sheep in the stables, because I have the sheep all here in this wool farm. I've got one sheep for each wool color. That way it leads into all these chests, and I have a bunch of wool of varying colors. In fact, I think I've filled a barrel with each color in this area. So, I mean, I don't build with wool that much, but, you know, having a wool farm definitely made netherite mining a bit easier. There's also this large empty space I have to figure out something to do with. It's under the dripstone area, so I have to figure out something. I'm not entirely sure what. Again, I have more, like, storage for the animal-based drops, just because, again, this is where I have the sheep, so I thought it kind of made sense to have that stuff here. This is also where I have my basalt generator, because it seemed like a decent place to put it. And then this is where I keep my crops. I actually will fill up these 3 shulker boxes so that I can take them to the village, just that way it makes it easier. But then I put everything else, like the extras, I'll just put in these barrels around it. I've also got some other, like, plant type items here, like the sugar cane. But if you want to see where I get the crops to fill those shulker boxes, we can either take the down water elevator, or we can just jump. And here at the bottom, we have the first layer of the lava-powered farm. And the reason it's lava-powered is number one, because I could, because of the renewable lava using dripstone. And also, it's just, I like all of these little lava droplets that just drop down onto the farm. I imagine that in real life that would be very bad for the plants, but it amuses me. I will say the major flaw with this level of the farm is there's this hole that leads down into a cave that's underneath my house. I haven't paved it over because I do still sometimes go down to that cave to get stuff. I just haven't gotten around to figuring out another entrance that works well. But these doors here at the end, and this leads to the lake out back here, which originally it wasn't connected to the ocean, but I made a river that does. You'll see it better when I show you from the house upstairs. Anyway, back inside. Oh, there is one other thing. So when decorating, I used the mangrove on the ends, and then I used alternating stripped and unstripped jungle logs. And then I decided to put cocoa beans here. Number one, so that I can farm cocoa beans in mass. And number two, I don't know what it is, but like the cocoa bean pod, whatever this is called, it looks like it should be a light to me. Like, it looks like it should be providing light, but obviously it doesn't. But, you know, since the lava is in the ceiling, it kind of makes it look like these are also lights. I don't know if that makes any sense to anyone, but I like the way it looks. To ascend, we can either use the water elevator, which is sometimes a bit tricky, because sometimes you can't get out at the very next level. Like, yeah, I just skipped it. So that's why I have these stairs on the side. That way, if you accidentally miss your stop, you can go back. And then this is where I have my beetroots and carrots. Between this level and the bottom level, that usually fills up those 3 shulker boxes that I used to trade with the farmers. So I then, on this 3rd level, I didn't put more crops. I instead put an area where it would be easier to, like, duplicate flowers, because honestly, I'm not sure what to do with the rest of the area between here and up to the basement. But I feel like I can't just leave it empty, because that's wasted space. And then as you can see, I have this doorway that, again, leads out to this area where you can see the pond, and you can see the river and the ocean a bit more clearly from this point. Did I put anything on the level above this? Okay, I hollowed it out, but I didn't put anything here. I don't know what to put here. Yeah, I really don't know what to put here, so anyone has any suggestions, I will gladly listen to them, because I don't know what to put here. And I think there's space for one. Is that one, maybe 2 more levels? Yeah, I can't tell. It goes way too fast. I need to figure out something. I mean, I think here in my to-do list I need melons and pumpkins yet. Oh yeah, that's right, I was thinking of an aquarium. That might not be a bad idea. I don't know. Oh, I missed this. This is the composter array, because bone meal is very useful to have. Alright, but that finishes up the basement. So we'll go up this spiral staircase. We will pass the ground floor, because we already saw that. And we'll go up to the 2nd floor, and then if we take the 2nd door on our right, you may recognize this room again if you've seen other videos that I've made. I keep some enchanted books in this area, as well as the dragon egg, because where else am I gonna keep it? And through these doors is the main bedroom, which I actually don't use all that frequently, but it is where I keep the shulker box with my backup netherite, because when they announced that they were going to make upgrading to netherite much more difficult, I maybe slightly panicked and decided to get 2 full backup sets in this world, because I really, really like this world, because after how many years of playing survival without shulker boxes, I really, really like shulker boxes. And then through this door here, we have this little small bathroom, which doesn't serve that much of a purpose, other than a place to throw all of the stone tools I accidentally make, as well as some water buckets, because sometimes you need water buckets and you just don't feel like walking all the way down to the pond. And it's raining. Of course it's raining. Why wouldn't it be raining? It's currently raining, so I'm holding off on doing the rest of the tour until I can be able to sleep and get rid of the rain. So this is the first time I'm going to be using this main bedroom in a very long time. Wait, that's right. I have a clock in the basement. That way I know what the time is when I leave the Nether. Hey, okay, we're almost to the time where I can sleep and get rid of the rain, so that's good. And with the rain gone, we can continue on with our tour. So, outside of the office, I have this small bathroom, which again, doesn't really serve that much of a functional purpose except for this anvil here, because over in this door is a storage area I have above the stables. The stables are just down there, and this is where I keep things like the fishing rods and bows that I get from fishing, as well as some of the books that I probably won't use. And then I can use the grindstone here or the grindstone in the bathroom to get back those levels, and then obviously use the anvil to combine the things I do want on my gear. I think the only other things of note up here are this sword, which this is the looting sword I used to be able to get the shulker shells so I could make shulker boxes. And then this pickaxe, which was the silk touch pickaxe I used to be able to get the ender chests I found in the end, because obviously I can't craft ender chests in Peaceful, so I needed to pick up whichever ones I could. So leaving the attic above the stables, if we go straight down this hallway, we will step onto this balcony, and this is where we get the best view of that little pond down there, as well as the river that I dug out that leads into the ocean. Not too much to see out this way, but I think it's a nice little area. And then the last thing we're gonna check out on this floor is these two rooms right here. This one is empty. I don't know what to put in it. It's just, I had all this extra space when I made this hallway. I don't know what to put in here. If anyone has suggestions, I would be glad to take them. And then through this door, this is where we have the guest bedroom, which is actually the 4-guest bedroom, because there's 4 beds here. In theory, probably they should be separate rooms, but I don't know how else to make the best use of this space. There is a closet here, though, in case people need to drop off their armor. But again, this is a single-player world, so I don't know why I made a guest bedroom in a single-player world. I guess I didn't know what else to do with this space. But anyway, so that we're done now with the second floor. So we're gonna ascend the spiral staircase one last time, and this is the main attic. I've got tough, I've got deep slate. I think this is where I keep the logs. Yeah, that's where I keep the logs. I'm hoping that they'll add more wood types, because a lot of these barrels are empty. I'm hoping they add more wood types. Back here I have gravel and clay, sand, and then there's one last little stairwell. Of course, behind this stairwell is where I keep a bunch of the nether stuff. In theory, I probably should keep it in the basement next to the nether portal, but I guess I just am having the mentality of I want to keep, like, my mass storage of blocks up here in the attic, if that makes sense. So we ascend this small stairwell, and because of these large windows, we have a pretty good view of the surrounding area. You can even see the lighthouse from the village off there in the distance. This is a view of the meadow, which again, it would be a slightly better view if I didn't have all these trees in the way. And the last thing we'll look at with this house is this door that leads out onto the roof. Because since I have an elytra in this world, it's good to have a nice high starting point to be able to fly. And back when I first started in this world, when I was really trying to build up this house and then build up the village, I was having to go back and forth, and I did have an elytra, but trying to get rockets, firework rockets in Peaceful is difficult because you have to wait for the Wandering Trader, number 1, to spawn, number 2, to offer you gunpowder. And so the best way to then be able to fly and not use rockets is to just have really high vantage points you can jump off of and glide. And so that's why that lighthouse is over there. And then if I'm able to time it right, if I'm on this roof, usually I can then make it back to the village without needing any firework rockets. Oh, we'll see. Am I gonna have success? It looks like I'm gonna have success. So usually I don't get, like, very far into the village, but I at least get in the general area, and that saves time. Alright, so now we're gonna fly back, and instead of stopping at home, we're actually gonna fly past home, because the one last thing I want to show you about this world is the end portal. Because obviously I did link to the video showcasing this seed and what makes it so special. But just so we're all on the same page, because, you know, I play in peaceful mode, but I've got an elytra, I've got shulker boxes, that shouldn't be happening. The only way that could happen is if this seed had a full end portal, which incidentally it does, in this village over here. So in total I have access to 3 villages. I haven't really used this village all that much. The only value this village really has to me is what's underneath it, which if we go down here, we will eventually reach the stronghold. And this stronghold does indeed have a portal that spawns with all 12 Eyes of Ender already in the portal. As you can see, while I was here, I already cleared out a bunch of the iron bars and other goodies from this stronghold. And then I haven't really done anything special to the end dimension other than defeat the dragon in peaceful mode, but again, that's not really anything that's constructive. About the only thing I really did in this dimension is make a stairway up to that end gateway so that I could go out to the end islands, get my shulker boxes and my elytra. I don't know why I made the stairway out of diorite though. That is a choice. But anyway, we're gonna head back now to the overworld. And that pretty well covers everything I have to share about this survival world that I've been playing in. Obviously I started it after 1.18 was released. I can't remember exactly when. I probably should have kept better track of that sort of thing. Thank you so much for helping this channel reach 500 subscribers. The next personal world tour will take place once we get to 750, and then I'll show you one of my other survival worlds. I have been thinking that maybe we could come back to this world around 5,000 subscribers, because that should be enough time that I've hopefully done something about this patch in front of the fungi factory. Until next time, take care.